On the same day, two such different results in Uttar Pradesh versus Karnataka raise the question: has BJP become a confused party on its ideology? One would think BJP, a party born because of a very clear cut ideology, has it lost its way? The result and the diametrically opposite result in Uttar Pradesh versus Karnataka reminds me of that Charles Dickens novel, A Tale of Two Cities, where he starts the novel and he talks about London versus Paris. Same way as we can talk about Uttar Pradesh versus Karnataka. And he starts it off by saying it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness, it was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredibility. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. Spring of hope in Karnataka, where out of a potential roughly 4.5 crore voters, and Karnataka, where roughly around 5 crore voters, potential voter turnout was obviously different. Both vote. One gives a spring of hope for BJP, one gives a winter of despair for BJP. So, voter of the nation is the same. 2019, the voter in both states voted in the same manner. UP BJP swept Lok Sabha, Karnataka BJP swept Lok Sabha. So, what has changed in the intervening 3.5 years, 4 years rather? What has changed? What is the reason? Is the reason merely the fact that the government was run in a different way in both the states? Or was the reason slightly different? That is something which needs to be understood because 2024 is now right around the corner. And even before that, if the lessons are not learned, the bad lessons as well as the good lessons, the spring of hope as well as the winter of despair, you need to learn from both. One, you need to copy, one, you need to change. So, first thing was confusion, the massive confusion on ideology. And why do I say that? I say that because Karnataka, the issue of Tipu Sultan was raised by the government itself. And you know the manner it was raised. The issue of hijab in school was raised by the government itself. The issue of halal and various other such issues were raised by the government itself. Is it wrong to raise them? Of course not. If you believe in a particular ideology, it is not wrong to raise them. Cancelling Muslim reservation at the last minute without the due process was raised themselves, yet in Supreme Court, it wasn't argued rigorously. Very comfortably, they were very accepting of a stay order because they knew that the manner it was done at the last minute without all the processes which needed to be carried out for carrying out that change. So, you start the election or you start your governance by these issues, but towards the end of the election, what happens? You come out, and the tallest leader, they come out in the state and say, no, these are not the issues in the election. Mr. Yedurappa also said it. No, these are not the issues in the election. So why were you raising them? Are you a confused party? Whereas the clarity of Yogi Adityanath, where he says, no matter how powerful, if you do criminal activities, I will take action. He stands up in the assembly, says, mitti mein mila dunga, and ends up doing it. He, no matter how much pressure is put on him, no matter the ecosystem, no matter the noise, no matter the international publications and the pressure, he says, I have promised, I will deliver. And he delivers it. Versus backtracking on issues and on core issues. The other problem, voter has gently told you after 2019, please understand, in 2014, when the Prime Minister won, there was a surge of optimism in the nation. And in 2014 assembly elections, Haryana, BJP was a small time player in Haryana, but it swept Haryana in 2014 after the Lok Sabha. Swept. It was a third rank or fourth rank party. You talk about Maharashtra, you talk about Jharkhand. Places Jharkhand BJP had been government. Maharashtra had lost three elections. Smaller party than Shiv Sena. So there were three parties above it, right? Congress, NCP, Shiv Sena, then BJP. Election happened. BJP got an unprecedented conversion ratio. I think around 120 seats out of the seats allotted to it, it won. Unprecedented majority in the assembly. Why? Because the people were optimistic not only about the prime minister, but also about the party. And there was a belief. That belief was carried forward into 2017 UP election also. These are big states I'm telling you about. BJP hadn't seen power in UP. It was a third ranked party. I think in 2009 Lok Sabha elections, if I'm not wrong, it was the fourth party because Congress had done very well. From a fourth party to 300 seats. Sweeping victory. It's not even a sweeping victory, the biggest victory in ages. Why? On the name of Prime Minister. Then what went wrong? What went wrong? Did Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, which is a good thing, if done in a manner in which there is no ideological confusion. But what happens? 14 to 17, these massive victories. But then the voter expects, and it is impossible, that a micromanagement can be done by the Prime Minister. Then the state leaders have to take it on. And the performance of state leaders. Jharkhand, the sitting CM loses his own seat. What lessons learned? Uttar Pradesh, a brilliant CM repeats himself. Assam, a brilliant contender for Chief Minister's post, Himanta Biswa Sarma, delivers the victory. But what about lessons of places where the CM is not performing? Secondly, where there is ideological confusion. In Assam, there is no ideology. A lot of people are reading this verdict as if it is a loss of Hindutva. Firstly, Hindutva is not tied to any party. It is the value system, it is the way of life. The Supreme Court has defined it as a way of life. It is the way of life of people living in Bharat. It's not tied to any political party. Unfortunately, if some parties have a problem with Hindutva, then some other parties will get the benefit of Hindutva vote by default. But to a degree, if they stick to the ideology. So after this result, two topics started. It is a loss of the Hindutva. No, it is a loss of the ideological confusion of BJP in two states where both the CMs are the most decisive and ideologically very clear, Assam and Uttar Pradesh. Very difficult demographics because a second spin which is being given is Muslim consolidation. I really do not think that is a reason which is the only reason for defeat. Yes, it's a factor. But demographics of UP and Assam tell you it's a much bigger factor there. If Muslim consolidation was a reason, that is lazy analysis. That is not wanting to take the blame on yourself. That the voter who votes for you, there will always be in every democratic country, voter who votes for you, voter who doesn't vote for you. You do not focus on the voter who votes for you. You be confused. The voter will be confused. You do not read the voter signal. Now, one example I'll ask you in Karnataka. It's very important to ask this example. There is nothing wrong in making a generational change. I am very much in favor of a generational change. Nothing wrong if you wanted to change Mr. Yadurappa. He's a person of a certain age. I am not for ageism, but I'm saying if you wanted to change, it's okay. On paper, it's okay. No problem. I don't have a problem. As a party, you felt Mr. Advani had to be change and Mr. Modi had to be brought in, it's okay. But what do you change it with is the question. Either you change it with a mass leader or you change it with a very competent administrator. Was Mr. Bommai either of the two? People from Karnataka say the administration had collapsed. 40% Sarkara corruption could stick. Why could it stick? Because the people living in that state experience the corruption. It's self explanatory. If they experience the corruption, if their lives are not improved, then they will say, when Lok Sabha comes, we will see it. But when it's a state election, either give us a CM who is very good, or we will say goodbye. Because neither is there ideological clarity. I told you, you start an election with one way, middle of election, you disown it. Neither is there a clarity that the action on corruption that has been taken, to give its due. Even the worst critique of Yogi Adityanath says he is personally very honest. In fact, even the worst critique of Prime Minister says he is personally honest. But then, as a central leadership, where the central leadership is very strong, it is your duty to ensure there is no corruption in the state. Because you are asking votes on your behalf. And if then there is corruption, it will not only lead to a loss in the state government, it will also tarnish your image. Because voter is trusting you from Haryana to Maharashtra to Jharkhand to all these places where BJP state unit was not very strong. It gave multiple chances. Uttar Pradesh. Some you have delivered, but increasingly confusion is creeping in. And that confusion, from ideology to corruption to not empowering local leaders, it's a triple whammy then. It becomes an absolute triple whammy. UP, because it's been done with ideological clarity, without corruption, from a double engine sarkar, you become a triple engine sarkar. 17-0 in mayor elections. Similar results in local bodies. 53%, I think, vote share. That's a humongous vote share. 53% vote share in all these mayor elections and all. Versus 36% in Karnataka. From 51% in 2019. It has been a rude but necessary wake-up call by the voter. 14, the voter was voting for the Prime Minister as well as in the assembly elections, defunct party state unit, it was trusting. 19, it voted for the Prime Minister even bigger. But in assemblies, the voter is very clear now. Jharkhand, as I said, the sitting CM lost his seat. UP, it had a performing chief minister, it repeated. Some places, it gave you decent seats, but not sweeping victories. So there was a mixed sort of a government, reasonably good, not brilliant, not bad, plus the positivity of the Prime Minister. But places where there is bad government, places where there is ideological confusion, places where there is corruption, places where local leader, generation shift is good, but then promotion has to be on merit of mass leaders. We are a democracy. Doesn't happen. Then the voter has spoken in Himachal Pradesh. Himachal, they had lost bypolls. They lost Lok Sabha bypoll, a very, very big bypoll, because that was a rare Congress Lok Sabha victory, I think Mandi bypoll. Voter gave a signal. You did not change the chief minister. You did not improve situation. You lost to Congress, but you dismissed it, saying it's a small state. 4 MPs only, small state. It happened. Karnataka is a big state. 25 Lok Sabha plus, I call big states. Same result. In fact, worse result, because the vote share margin is 7%. And now it will not be just the presence of Prime Minister on the ticket. So if it was 0.5%, 1%, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, 2%, just the change of leadership and you are here, it will require a lot of effort from BJP, from the Prime Minister to repeat its performance because it's a 7% gap. Yes, last time BJP shot up 15%. From 36%, it went to 51%. But every time that humongous batting by, let's say, Dhoni at his best used to finish off impossible matches. So it is a very difficult match. You have to catch up a lot. You can do it. You will only do it with ideological clarity, with satisfying the core voter, with having strong local units, with rooting out any corruption if in any state unit, with respect to the corest of core issues. And I think this wake up call is a great opportunity to take all these corrective measures because democracy has spoken. If you listen to it, at least in the assembly, 4 big elections Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan the results will be good. If you don't listen, the results could be like Himachal, Karnataka. December 2023 will be very crucial for BJP. Hopefully, if it wants to do well, it will make these changes. Otherwise, the voter will make the change the voter wants to make. Bharat Mata ki Jai.